everybody. This is Art at SCAT, and I'm Janet Cormier. Enough in the studio to have Amanda Earley, who has done some terrific things with mosaics. She's going to give us a whole different perspective on this art form, and I'm so glad you're here today. Amanda, tell us about how you started with mosaics.
Well, I did a degree in England at Chelsea School of Art in London, and I was specialising in murals and decided to sidetrack really into ceramics and mosaics, and I just found there was a whole new avenue of creation there. So since I've been looking for mosaics to come into the 21st century really, and using clothing and telephones and shoes.
Look at this.
To readapt how we think of mosaics.
It's going to be some legacy to leave people. They'll be totally confused. These are wonderful shoes.
Oh, thank you.
Would you tell us a little bit about how you did these shoes?
These were my favourite disco shoes. So they had a lot of
for the art. I like that.
They've had a lot of wear and tear, and I thought they had this very 70s kitschy disco flavour. So I decided to immortalise them in mirror and glass, and they've been around the Atlantic a couple of times. So I think they're fun. And they make lots of people smile.
They do. I'm sure people out there smiling right now. These bring back memories.
Do they?
Yeah, these are fabulous. I love these. It makes you think Saturday Night Fever.
It definitely does.
You can see the little, okay, that's fabulous. Now, and this is taking usable things that were in wardrobe, and then redefining what they are. Let's see, you've also done this hat, could you tell us about that? Could you bring it up?
Yes, this was my husband's hat, and you know, I feel that cowboy hats and Stetsons are very part of American culture and identity. So I thought it'd be rather fun to make it an object of desire. And change it into glass. It is made of canvas, and it had to be coated maybe 4 or 5 times in PVA, which is polyvinyl acetate, to strengthen it, and then a coat of gesso over before it was strong enough. But with mosaics you can use almost anything. Glass, metal, plastic, canvas. The sky's the limit really for what you can do with mosaics and put tesserae onto.
What I'm struck with is the detail, because you even have here the folds of the hat, of the fedora, and you're able to capture that. You didn't lose any of that. That's incredible with the glass. I find glass, I mean, it's a cheap girl's jewels, isn't it? I like that.
And I'm probably a bit of a magpie. I sort of, anything glass and shiny I'm attracted to. So yes, I just wanted to make it dazzling, and you know, you can actually wear it too.
Whoa! Quite nice. A little heavy perhaps.
Yes, just a slight.
And materials, are they hard to come by?
Not at all. A place I go to is in Lexington. It's Lexington Glass, and you can buy oddments and cuts of glass in amazing colours for just a few bucks.
Do you lay this out?
Sorry?
Do you lay out the glass, or is it just that your instincts are such that you can?
I prefer to draw straight onto a piece. I have an idea in my head, and I work straight onto the piece with glass. Some people prefer to have a cut design or a set design. I mean, everyone's different. But you know, that works for me.
That's beautiful. And can you show us, let's see, this telephone is an interesting piece.
All right, yes, this has gone a little bit Bollywood. I just thought that it would be great for people to use these functional objects, telephones or a TV set. My children love it because it's solid and it's chunky, and they hate talking into cell phones. But with this, it's a piece that you can have fun with, something in your home that you can just bring to life. Don't feel that you have to do a floor or a picture frame. Just go mad and have a bit of fun and be creative.
But that's how we've come to think of mosaic, though. I mean, prior to your arrival,
yes.
It was always something that, maybe, forgive me for saying this, the ashtrays at camp, and then it was decorative. It was the floors and table covers and things like that. And now you've taken us to a whole different realm. I was curious. I noticed that this, you have the pink defining it, and here it's the glass defining the piece. Is there a difference in materials, or?
I sometimes think that you don't necessarily have to have its pattern and form. You can bring the background out by using colour, whereas form, I prefer sometimes with mosaics simplicity, just using one colour. Mm-hmm. And that is really the key element to a lot of the design in mosaics. And the pink here is acrylic paint.
Oh, okay. So
which is painted on onto the grout when it's finished.
Yes. And I see that you brought us a violin cover.
Yes, I'm very into recycled goods and pieces that I find, and this was a violin case, and I decided to do something a little surreal and playable, and I keep my nail polish in here.
Oh,
so
practical above all else.
Yes.
And then you told me a very interesting story about the piece behind me, which, let's see, I don't want to disconnect, but this piece has an interesting history. Let's see, because you said it was because it's sort of a, can I lift this?
Yeah, sure.
Because of your son, and to remember.
Well, yes, it was when I was expecting my first son, and it was almost like a patchwork quilt. And spending, while I was waiting for him, I was overdue, so I was spending each night doing one piece at a time. And it says "Girl loves boy," and it's playing around with daisies and hearts and the spirals. So it's a little personal piece for me, really.
It's beautiful. It's a wonderful way to remember the time.
Yes.
And you were saying that this takes quite a while to do.
To do this piece, it would take, it's probably taken me 40, 50 hours. Okay. Because I feel that you can only work for 2 to 3 hours solidly before you need a break, because you get extreme eye strain.
I can imagine, with these little pieces. So you were saying that sometimes you change your rhythm and you paint?
I need a break. And before I was a mosaicist, I was a muralist. So I switch over quickly, and sometimes like to finish a painting in a week or a few nights when I have a bit of time to myself. So at the moment I have a theme of animals.
They're very nice. If you could take us through, there's the cat. Is that?
Well, I sort of have a connection with animals, and when you think of around the world with myths and legends, in there's certain ones with, say, the horse. I'm a fire horse, and Chinese astrology, fire horses actually, the women were killed at birth, the babies destroyed, and so I have this connection. But throughout time and myth, you have the cats that were mummified by the Egyptians, and I think they have a strong iconic presence, I feel. To me, I mean, I remember actually I had a little prenatal depression. I remember I had these animals, above me, and I felt that they were like guardians, strength within. And maybe it's because it's like, well, it was a cat and a horse. I felt there was a strong presence.
Well, this one, the cat, feels very safe. It looks very like it's a very empowering cat. And your horse, I love your palette. Your palettes are beautiful. It reflects the same richness of color that you have in your mosaics. And then above, we have your cow, which is, it looks like acrylic, or is that? Or
they're all these are acrylics, and these are pastel, oil pastels. The cow, yes. I mean, I think there's this endearing feature with cows, of a calmness about them when you look through them. I was grown up on a farm. My nan used to, and I was with cows quite a lot, and I used to get lost in their eyes as a child. So I have this, and I also have a thing with sheep as well. Animals altogether, I find this, like, as I said, it's a presence, and I feel there's so much expression that they can make, quizzical, puzzled, in animals.
Well, the color is just so spectacular, and your background, and then the way you play with the different tones. And we're back to a horse with in pastel.
This is a collage. It's watercolors, acrylics. It's mixed media, really, with paint. As I said, it's a horses too.
And I'm going to see if I can reach for this. This is a little different. Now you're changing your pace with us, and we've gone to an abstraction.
Right.
So.
This is a personal piece. It was when I was, my husband's a musician, and I was expecting the baby, and it was about harmony within and a balance.
Same son?
It was my first son. I have a second son. So yes, it was. I had a lot of time on my hands, which I don't now, as I have two that are very near the same age. So I thought it balanced well. As it's a personal piece too.
Very nice.
I like vivid colour, and maybe it's because I spent a long time abroad that I have these bright colours that I can't. I love bright greens and oranges.
Could we tell by the necklace and the way that you're here today?
Vivid colours. Thank you.
Beautiful colours. The mosaics still, they capture that. You've done a beautiful job. I guess if you were good enough to bring some materials to show us, to reveal to us the secrets of your art. So I guess we're going to venture over and see how you do this.
This is a very mini mosaic course. I just would like the audience to know how to construct one of their own at home. So I would like to just briefly go through a few of the materials.
Okay.
And starting first is a pair of nippers. Nippers can be bought at any DIY Home Depot.
Okay.
They are extremely versatile. You can cut many different shapes and angles. And anyway, your most essential piece of mosaic material.
Okay, are the nippers.
These are nippers, yes. And tesserae. It's just a sample of some of the different things that you can stick onto mosaics. Tesserae is a collective term for glass and ceramics and beads.
Now, do you use broken plates? Is that what I'm saying here?
Yes, I do, but you have to be careful because of the levelling. You find there's raised edges, so you can only use parts of plates, the top parts. I do find it easier to use glass and ceramic tiles, which I break up.
Could fabric be used or no? To dry and
then? As a support, or are you talking as a support, or just
for ornamentation as part?
You could use, but it depends if you're using mixed collage. There would be very, very different levels, and you find with fabric, because you go over the grout, and the grout is a glorified cement, really. It makes it a bit messy.
Okay.
So we have tesserae and a hammer and a spatula.
Other things
for
than
mixing.
the kitchen.
Yeah, all these utensils from the kitchen for cooking, really, and some good brushes.
Wow. Okay.
And of course MDF. MDF is medium density fiberboard, which you can buy from
Home Depot.
yeah, Home
place
Depot.
like that,
Yeah.
good.
So what you do is to prepare. You always need to prepare a wood or an MDF surface to make sure the tesserae is secured.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you let out your aggression
Wow.
onto a piece of board and make horizontal and vertical cuts. It's called keying.
So this explains your calm nature. This is good.
And you do this for a few minutes until you can feel the surface raised.
Okay. Can I put my hand down?
So
Reminds me of when you do monoprints and you have to roughen the surface for
Yeah,
the plexiglass.
yeah.
Okay.
This is only necessary on wood and MDF. You would not need to do this on glass or metal or plastic.
Okay.
What you would do with that surface is you would let it go tacky. The glue that I use is a PVA, which stands for polyvinyl acetate, and it dries as a clear plastic. I found Elmer's to be...
that is actually Elmer's glue.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of American glues don't have it on the back.
The ingredient.
Yeah. But once you have keyed your surface, you brush on a coat. It's 50% PVA and
So
50% water.
Okay,
It's a
so
solution of
50% of this.
Yes.
And then water. Okay.
and you pretty much just spread it around, saturate it, and it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to dry.
Okay.
And once it's ready to dry, there's one I prepared earlier.
That's this one.
Oops. You start cutting your tesserae up
With the nippers.
with the nippers. And you nip from a 90-degree angle on the right. If you're right-handed, you could be left-handed. And it should be effortless. I'm going to do a few more.
So you're starting just making a little break that carries through.
Yes, if I had a tile, I would break the tile into at least 2 to 4 pieces. It is the glass on the top that's why you are able to cut. It's the glass that makes the break.
Okay.
And if you're trying to break a whole piece, you tend to find it shatters. So the smaller the pieces, the easier you are able to cut into cubes.
There's a metaphor here. Break it always down into smaller pieces.
Yes, yes. And I mean, there's no formula or set way for mosaics. Some people love to do maybe triangles. You can cut triangles, you can cut circles with these. You can have completely different alternated shapes. But traditional mosaicists tend to cut in cubes because it's easier to work and fold together, almost like your own jigsaw puzzle.
Okay.
I myself have tended to work around a border. When you look at traditional mosaics, as in Greek and Romans, you'll find that most of them had these elaborate borders.
Just like we saw with your other pieces.
Yeah, and that was not just for the aesthetics, it was for, it reinforces the piece and makes it like a wall and makes it a lot stronger.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Should people be wearing safety glasses or anything when they're doing it?
I've been doing it for a number of years, so I'm okay. But yes, I would recommend a pair of glasses.
I'm seeing some stuff once.
Yes, it does. And you always cut away from you rather than in front of you. Okay. When you've cut a number of pieces, you can draw your design straight onto the board. Now let me go quickly through design techniques. Geometric designs are simplicity is the key, and they're probably an easier, I have one here, using maybe a palette of two pieces, two colours, and maybe an orange to break it up. Once you try to put too many colours in, it tends to make it a little messy, so use a clean palette and look towards maybe nature if you don't feel that your design orientated so well. Thinking of flowers or leaves.
Sort of like this one?
Well, this is a very simple piece, and I've worked with a couple of flowers for this.
So here you've done the border, and then you've broken down your pieces and placed them in, and then you would be ready to grout.
Yes.
This.
Yes.
And so, could you take us through that grouting?
Yes. Once you've, first of all, I'll just.
Okay.
Little bit of it. Once you've stuck an amount of tesserae or have it all cut up, you would start to butter onto the MDF a small amount of PVA. And when you're laying down a border, or to start with, always work slightly inwards. Because when this is grouted, the edges will be nice and clean and flat, and you can then paint them over with an acrylic paint. And lay down. Preferences, as I said, I prefer to work in small cubes, but you can cut really any shapes that you want to. And you carry on building. From there. Okay. And once you've completed that, you leave that to dry for at least an hour and a half, and then it will be ready to grout. Grout is a refined cement which contains lime, so you do have to be a little bit careful of leaving it on your hands for too long, because it dries them up. Okay. You can actually use a bit of vinegar, though. The pH balance restores them with a good hand cream. So once the grout, you can buy powdered grout. I find is a lot better and easier than ready-made grout, mainly because the ready-made grout tends to stick onto the top of the surface and doesn't drain into all the cracks and crevices. Okay. So the grout is mixed up to a double cream consistency and then poured on top.
Covering everything?
Covering everything, okay, on top of the mosaic. And once it's completely covered, you then use your fingers in circular movements to get into all the little cracks and crevices, back and forth. And you'll find that the ceramic, being clay, is extremely absorbent, so it draws all the water in instantly. Mm-hmm. It's very different when you do a mosaic glass piece, because glass is non-porous. It's the humidity that dries the grout, but with a ceramic piece, it's the clay that draws the water in. So it's probably much easier sometimes to grout ceramic than it is the glass, which you leave for a lot longer to set. You make it thicker and you leave it longer to set. With this, you could probably leave the grout on for 5 minutes, then take it off with a damp. You take a damp sponge or cloth and wring it out till it's really dry. Mm-hmm. and wipe the surface over
Mhm.
and leave it for another 10 minutes, and you would take a buffer brush
Okay.
and just lightly and gently take off the dust, and voila, one finished piece.
Wow. And then if you decided to paint it, you would use regular acrylic?
You can actually, there's two ways. You can colour the grout by adding acrylic.
Oh, okay.
Or afterwards you can, you put no more than 5% of acrylic into the grout mixture whilst you're mixing it. Or afterwards you make a water solution and paint over, as I've done with the Bollywood foam.
Wow. You know, this is a wonderful art form. I'm sure there are people out there that want to explore with this. You've taken us into a whole new world. You're a pioneer woman as well as an artist. And quickly, is there anything, any couple of words you want to give our audience about doing this? Just a couple of words of inspiration?
I would say just go for it and look for objects around your home. You've probably got baskets of buttons and beads and things that you've collected that you would love to display, personal objects, and start off simply, and it's a craft that you get better and better at, so just go for it and have fun.
Enjoy it, and enjoy the exhibit, because Amanda's work was going to be in the SCAT gallery for the month of December, and you're welcome to come down and see what she's doing, and you teach classes also.
Yes, at the Washington Street Arts Centre.
See, so you can just find
Union
her.
Square.
This is a wonderful way to do things. You know, all those buttons and things you were hiding, bring them out. I want to thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing this with us. And everyone, take care until our next meeting. Bye.